The only thing worse than a nightmare is a nightmare that repeats itself over and over and over. Welcome to the Film Threat Podcast. I am Chris Gore, and it's 2020. It's a weird year. And if you want to take a step out of 2020 for a second and see an incredibly original horror film. I mean, is it a horror film? It's a nightmare. I feel it's also inspired by the work of David Lynch, something wholly original. Koko-Di Koko-Da. Check out the trailer right now for this film if you don't know anything about it. Even better yet, don't look at the trailer. Just seek out this movie. I'm pleased to talk to the director of the film, Johannes Nyholm, who's calling all the way in from, wait a sec, where are you right now?
Gothenburg, Sweden.
Oh, well, thank you so much for talking to us today. This film terrified audiences at Sundance. I know because it was something that people were talking about when it played there. Where did this vision come from? I find that it sort of toes this line between things that are horrible and horrific and dreamlike and nightmarish, mixed with very childlike, innocent, fanciful, and almost whimsical imagery, sort of the combination of the two. How did you mix this, and what inspired this?
I think it's mostly inspired by dreams, actual dreams that I've had. The whole film has this kind of dream-like structure that you're kind of trying to escape or trying to accomplish something over and over and over again, but you end up exactly where you started. So I think it's, the main story of the film is to follow a couple is trying to escape their loss. They've gone through some horrible a horrible situation in their life, and they're trying to escape this, and they have these demons that they are trying to escape, but they are kind of getting nowhere. So I think a lot of what's going on in the film and how it looks is trying to create this mood of not getting anywhere and trying and trying and trying, just like nightmares works.
I'm so glad you said dream. It does remind me of a dream that you can't escape, where you're maybe trying some other way to solve the main issue and it's unsolvable. I've had a nightmarish dream like that where I was trapped in my basement. As a kid, I would have this as a recurring dream, and no matter what I did, I could not escape the basement, which terrified me as a kid. You've got the heater down there and all sorts of things that make weird noises. I feel like this movie really captured that in a way. I don't know how you feel about being compared to David Lynch. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I feel like he's another filmmaker that has in a really profound way captured what it's like to be trapped in a dream, and you really accomplished that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love David Lynch. He's amazing, and I think it's quite clear that he's inspired by other ideas how to tell a story than the traditional dramaturgy what you learn in film school. It's a more dreamlike structure, more dreamlike logic. A way of storytelling that you find more in Asia, for example, than in the West. I think I'm also inspired more by that kind of storytelling.
Where did it come from? Because the sort of whimsical, fanciful, and sort of childlike imagery, there's this, I don't know if it's animation or how you achieve this sort of puppetry that was done in shadow, which I thought was really that's woven into the film in a beautiful way. How did you accomplish that? And also working in the music, which I think also was sort of in contrast to a lot of the events that were torturing this couple.
Yeah, I think it was really important to have this this element in the film. I mean, the rest of the film is so extremely cruel and so violent, ruthless, that it's important to have this poetic element, this beautiful poetic and childish element, like a fairy tale from your childhood that tries to help you go to bed again, or try to like a blanket to comfort you. I think that was why I think it was important to have this kind of parallel storytelling, this parallel universe. But also, I wanted to add a little bit of timelessness to the story as well. That it's not about just this couple that have lost something. It's about a general kind of loss. It could be about anything really. So I'm using a technique that kind of it was invented thousands of years before the film camera. It's a way of telling stories that you did before all this technology fixation showed up. And I mean, it's not about humans even. It's like a fable. It's like an old fable, like something that could be told generations to generations with just shadows on a wall.
What about the song? Where did the song come from, and what were the roots of that? And I found it to be very haunting, the way that you used it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a children's song that I sang a lot when I was a kid. It exists in many languages. I think it's French from the beginning, but I think it fitted this film so well because it's kind of formally it has the same structure. It's like a repeating canon song that goes on forever. It's a childish song, but it has this really morbid undertones. It's about a dead rooster that is still singing. It's still singing Koko-Di Koko-Da. So it's like living in a limbo between life and death, and that's where you are in this film. You are between life and death in this limbo between awake and asleep, and between dead and alive, I guess.
It's I mean, it's really just effectively used in the film, so kudos for that. I also want to ask about the you know, they say that it's difficult for directors to work with children and animals, and you work with both. What was it like with the animals? Because the way that the animals are used in the film, how was that achieved? Can you talk about what it was like to work with the dogs that you had in the film?
Yeah, I mean, dogs are a lot easier to direct than cats, for example. And there's cats doing a lot of things in the film that, I mean, I guess to have those animals there is, I think I tried to portray something really primal. Something, if a cat or if a dog has a mission to do something, it's not then it's not maybe something that that has a reason. If you follow a cat into the forest, a cat leads you into the forest and you follow it, it gets more irrational. You don't see that there's a clear thought behind this, something I mean, a made up plot. It's something else. It's something that's more combined with your inner mind. I don't know what I'm talking about, but maybe you understand what I mean.
I do. And I was curious about the cat, the way that they use the cat in the film. There's the cat is that makeup on the cat, or was the cat like that? The sort of scarred, this like perfect white cat, and then it's sort of this imagery. It's somewhat scarred. Is that?
Yeah. It's strange, actually. I mean, as I said, it's really hard to direct cats. And first, when we went out to the woods with a white cat that we found, it just ran away, and we spent hours trying to find it again. And then we did a similar things with another white cat that we thought maybe would act better, but we kind of realized that it's impossible to direct them. So I had to find a white cat that lived in that specific forest, and I put up ads all over the place to try to find it. I mean, it's quite rare with white cats in the first place, but for some strange reason, a woman replied that had this cat, and she sent a photo of that cat, and that's what the cat looked like. And I said, okay, that's our cat. That's the cat we are looking for. And by chance, the owner of the cat looked exactly like the female lead, just 20 years older. So I thought that we didn't just find the cat for the movie, also find another plot for the movie, find another persona for the female lead.
Well, I never thought that in the year 2020 I would be talking to a director from Sweden about cat casting in a film. And it really is like, I guess maybe it's sort of like when you're classifying a film like this, horror would be the genre, I guess people would put it in. But I think it's more than that. It definitely, if you're a fan of David Lynch's work, this sort of toes that line, that like brilliant sort of like, you know, caught in a dream, trapped in a dream. I'm curious how audiences have reacted to it. I was unable to go to the screening at Sundance, but I'm just curious what people's thoughts were when they saw the film and how they reacted to it.
I think it's kind of a classical example of a film that you either can't stand or you think it's exactly personal. It's exactly about your life. So I think it's either you hate it or you love it. Some people leave, have left the theater, and some people can't stop crying afterwards and said that this is my life. So it's so divided, and it has been in every time that I've shown it who had those kind of experiences.
Those are my favorite types of films. The ones that are the worst is everybody thought it was just okay, but like loving it or hating it. I know that that's a movie that takes a lot of risks. Johannes, thank you so much for being on the Film Threat podcast. I want to thank our sponsor, Storyblock. Go to storyblocks.com/film threat. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us all the way from Sweden. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Pleasure.